Whoa, that got weird real fast. There we go.
Puzzle pieces.
That's Dave's colorful introduction. Welcome to the 13th episode of Unifying Force. I'm Kat, joined by Dave and Gio. How's everybody?
Oh, I am doing well.
Doing well here too.
We got fun stuff to talk about today, but before we do that, let's get some of the sad stuff out of the way. We have lost two more members of the Star Wars family since we have last convened. We've lost Michael Pennington, who played Grand Moff Jerjerrod in Return of the Jedi, who famously receives pity from Darth Vader and doesn't get killed for it, which is like a shocker. And we have lost the great voice actor Tom Kane, known for being the voice of Yoda and the narrator, among others, in the Star Wars Clone Wars show, and I'm sure some voices in Rebels that I probably missed. So yeah,
and the Powerpuff Girls.
I know the old saying is they come in threes, but I'm crossing my fingers we're not gonna have that this time.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since Tom Kane passed, so hopefully not. But yeah, these were the rough ones. Tom Kane has like been on my list to meet for quite some time, but he's been having health issues for quite a while. But then again, like he had made it back for one con. He was really trying to get back out there to the fans and had made that one con, and I think people were hopeful that the worst was past, but sadly not.
Yeah, I had no idea that he'd been dealing with health issues, so I was kind of blindsided by that when I saw the news.
Well, I was blindsided by that when I had saw that he was coming back for the one con. I hadn't heard about it before that, but I'd been kind of like paying attention to it after that point. But
yeah, I mean, he is the voice of the Clone Wars. He starts every episode, Admiral Yularen. Yeah. So he's not just the narrator, but like the grand chorus and the glue that binds the whole series together, really. And I think he's been a prolific voice actor for his entire career, and he's done a lot of video game stuff as well. So contributed a lot to Star Wars entertainment and to entertainment overall. And I'm with you, Kat. I wasn't aware that he was unwell, although I was aware he was had reached a pretty good age. So he definitely had a really fulfilling life, and he definitely enriched a lot of ordinary folks like us lives by giving us the voice and the gravitas in great entertainment episodes that we've enjoyed for many a year.
Right. And for sure is the OT is as well. It's people are reaching that age. People that participated in the OT, especially those that were the older, more established guard of the OT that just continue to pass on a year by year as time goes by, and it's a sad thing whenever each one of them.
Yeah, last year we lost Ken Colley, who's Admiral Piet, and now we've lost Pennington. I'm not sure how many of them are still around. I know that there were a group of them that came to Celebration Chicago, which is pretty impressive, and I think that was probably their last big stateside con. But we still got a few of them with us, but it always sucks, especially around the Star Wars season, as May is kind of, planted its flag historically as being a Star Wars season to lose people, especially so close to the new movie coming out and everybody's, hype being high, and then you have such devastating lows.
Yeah. It is that.
We will always remember them. And in the spirit of Star Wars and always remembering people and celebrating the legacy of Star Wars, we will give you now our recap, or not so much our recap as our thoughts on Maul Shadowlord, which is wrapped up since we last convened. Gio, why don't you kick us off on this? What'd you think of this show overall?
Overall, fantastic. A really great dive back into Lucasfilm animation, coming in at a high and maintaining that, I think, for most of the 10 episodes that we got. And it finished with a really good flourish, which I think balanced a lot of things that Star Wars can do really well, like legacy aspects and characters and concepts, and not do so well, which is be too reliant on nostalgia and memories of good times gone by watching older films. And I think Maul Shadowlord managed to strike a great middle ground. And I think it comes as a direct consequence of other great Star Wars projects doing really well, even if they feel quite different or ostensibly on the outside might look entirely like a different world. So for that, I say Andor. I think we've got some of the best parts of Andor that have come into Maul Shadowlord. I think we've got some of the best parts of the kind of crime underlord fringe Star Wars mafia goings on that we've had hinted in The Mandalorian, brought into Shadowlord 2, and it's married together a lot of great elements to be a really fun show. I think strong enough to stand alone. If you were to introduce this to somebody who didn't know Star Wars, it's written in a clever way that doesn't rely on too much backstory. But if you've been in there for every episode leading up to it in the past, in the Clone Wars and Rebels, it's a very rewarding experience. And I think it's one of the highest highs that Lucasfilm's hit in many years.
Dave?
I really enjoyed the show. I liked how unexpected it was in the first few episodes. Introduction of new characters and giving it kind of nearly a film noir kind of cop show kind of vibe going on for a little bit. We had some Star Wars Law and Order going on for a while there, and that was completely unexpected, and I liked it. Having something new and different in Star Wars is really good. It's helpful. It's really nice. It was well written. I liked the fact that they made, and I was expecting the whole thing to be this way from the previews, but they just made Maul himself really more painterly every time you see like those brush strokes and all of that sort of thing. The other characters not so much, but I enjoyed that kind of style. It was interesting choice to do. And I think they kind of brought it home well. They brought it home in a way that leaves us wide open for the announce, and they really chose to announce a season 2 really early. I thought that was strange and odd, but they brought it home in such a way that it didn't leave us with a stupid cliffhanger that we're going to be sitting here waiting for who knows how long before the next season will happen. So we're not just like at the edge of our seats having to wait and then wait and wait and wait and wait. But we still, it's a point that leaves us for a natural second season and something more going on. So I think they balanced that really well.
Yeah, I liked how they also targeted fascism in a similar grounded, realistic way like they did in Andor. And doing that in the animated show, I thought they did really well. I love that none of the episodes were fluff pieces. Like every episode you have significant character development and story development. It's not just a bunch of random plot stuff happening and then, cliffhanger teaser for next season. So many shows have been doing that lately. Alien Earth, Sugar, Squid Game did that to an extent in the first season, and it's like I'm kind of over that, like investing so much time in streaming shows, which have no excuse to not tell a full story in 9 or 10 hours of time. And I like that Maul Shadow Lord did a really great job telling the whole story. It's like, yeah, they leave certain narrative threads open, but not in a cliffhanger-y type way. More like in a, it'd be interesting to revisit this if we want to at a later point. Kind of like how, what's her name, the Inquisitor from the Kenobi show at the end. She kind of, Obi-Wan kind of forgives her or whatever, and they left her Moses Ingram's character was left sort of in the wind, but it wasn't like a big cliffhanger. It's like, if we come back to that character, great. If we don't, okay. And I think this show also had some of the best fight choreography we've ever seen in Star Wars animation. It was just unbelievable.
Sure. That was just crazy.
Yes. I love that when they brought in
Star Wars.
Absolutely. I love that when they brought in certain core like legacy characters, there was a reason to do it. It wasn't just for glorified cameos. They really earned their presence there. Like Maul being shifty and evil, continuing his quest and his obsession to have an apprentice of his own. Love Dennis Haysbert as a Jedi. I didn't realize that was something I needed in my life, but I did.
Yeah.
That was
really fun.
I came to like it. It was very jarring and distracting when I first heard it. It's just like, wait, that's Dennis Haysbert. And then as it went, yes.
Action was really good. The effects, I mean, this was just all around a great show. And if they can have season 2, even if it doesn't pick up with some of the same supporting characters, if it's just a brand new Maul story that's told in the same type of way where, okay, we're not going to do glorified cameos. We're not going to have a bunch of fluff pieces. We're not going to have cliffhangers. We're just going to tell a solid, great story. I am all for it and wish that this could be a whole genre of Star Wars animation going forward. Kind of like when they said, oh, we're going to have a standalone Star Wars movie every other year, which they abandoned that plan. Well, maybe they could keep to this plan, have an animated series based around a different character or whatever that's written this well, and have that be like a forever show. Like, you know, you do a few seasons of Maul, maybe do focus on another character. I mean, this was fantastic. If you haven't checked it out, if you feel like you've been burned by Star Wars lately and kind of, do yourself a favor and watch this one. This is the one I will say. It's very accessible, and it will be you don't have to see a bunch of other stuff to know what's going on. Even if you didn't see season 7 of Clone Wars, it's not really a deal breaker. So, but this one's definitely worth your time. So check it out. It was an excellent show.
Yeah, for sure. Genuinely, the only thing you have to just accept is that Darth Maul was sliced up and he's back and he's alive.
Yeah.
If you can get over that as a narrative hump, you can strap in and really enjoy this one.
Yeah, you don't need to know all the steps and all the whys and all the this and all the that. The only thing you may have to understand is he was cut in half and like has artificial legs or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's an alien and we don't know his internal anatomy, so maybe being cut in half isn't a big deal.
yeah, you could always do that. I mean, Star Wars full of weird and wonderful monsters and creatures, and that's a huge part of Star Wars in a way. It's like the original trilogy, in the way they use puppets and things, felt like creature feature at times, and you get that with some of the characters that stick around and give us more stories, just like Maul. I think it's really good, actually, how I'm really glad they didn't reveal the title of the last chapter and until the last 2 chapters dropped as well, because Star Wars has done that before with I think most famously with the soundtrack for The Phantom Menace. It went on sale on CD before the film had released, and there's a track called Qui-Gon's Noble End. And yeah, and it's like track number 11 of 14. But it's good they kept. I think all shows should try not to give information too much in the episode title, and the finale was the finale, and it turned out to be called The Dark Lord, which was a great step up for Maul Shadow Lord to try and meet. And we had I think we had such a satisfying finale. It was reminiscent of, I think, that feeling we might have had of total adrenaline, but also the chords of your nostalgic heart getting played perfectly by Lucasfilm, in the same way that we got at the end of Rogue One with Darth Vader in the hallway scene, or Luke Skywalker at the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian. So I think Maul Shadow Lord played its individual parts so well individually, and then created an amazing symphony of something you can really dive into. I just really enjoyed being in the environment, if that makes sense. Just feeling like I was immersed into, the seedy neon lit underworld that they were exploring. And I think we'll say this in a little bit as well, but Star Wars is always good at it's always progressive when it's building on the environments and the locales and giving us new stuff to see rather than revisiting old planets and ecosystems over and over.
Yeah, I mean, they could have easily tried to set this on Coruscant, although that would have like gotten rid of the don't call the Empire in because the Empire's already there. But it could have easily been set there. It could have easily been set on the Neoni planet from the Obi-Wan series, but they chose just to give us a completely new place, and that was a good choice. Expand the galaxy.
Just what we want.
Yes, absolutely. That's what they need to do, and they definitely need to do that in their movies, which they haven't been doing yet. But maybe we could pivot from there to the. So, what else happened this weekend, Dave? I'm not sure. I don't think I remember. What was it?
I don't know. I think people have been, going. It's Memorial Day. People are going to movies, maybe just because. I don't know.
Oh, I know what happened this weekend. I know what happened this weekend. That new horror movie Obsession defied the odds and had a bigger second weekend than its opening weekend, which is insane because that never happens anymore.
Wow, that's a big statement for
the. Here's a shocker for you. I might have just happened to be at the movie theaters for some reason this weekend, and well, damned if the Supergirl trailer didn't impress me. No.
How much sleep had you had?
The new Odyssey trailer was pretty good too. First one I've liked.
I did not see that one. That one was not.
They didn't show that. Yeah, I didn't see that either.
Oh, that's a good trailer.
No, the new Supergirl trailer is did not look as whiny little pain in the butt, whatever, as I'm expecting the movie to be. But this one gave me hope. It did. So we shall see how that goes. I didn't love.
Maybe Gio knows what happened this weekend.
I don't know. It's been really. I'm pretty hot and fuzzy now. Just got brain fog. It's just a weekend. Temperatures soaring here in London and the UK. Everyone's just passing out, trying to wishing our infrastructure had a bit more AC.
I built my acclimator.
Acclimator class Star Destroyer.
Bam, bam, bam.
I saw a little meme somewhere built the giant Super Star Destroyer Lego, and they put two battle droids on the front of it like Jack and Rose in Titanic.
Right. On the Venator, yeah. I remember what happened. A new Star Wars movie came out.
It did. The first time that we've had a new Star Wars movie in theaters in
6.5 years.
Nearly 6.5 years. Yeah.
Well, and I think all of us have had a chance to go see it. I think many people have.
I did. I ate my first ticket on Thursday, but then I managed to get out and see it on Friday.
Yeah. Is the same kind of thing. AMC was very good with their returns policy. When I figured out that I could not see it on Thursday, just online, and they refunded the whole deal. So that was nice.
And it had some box office success. It netted $12 million in Thursday previews, which is pretty good considering how bad the economy is right now. And it then added, it added an additional $21 million on Friday. So through Friday, the totals are $33 million domestic. We don't yet know what it's made over the weekend or what it's made internationally. So that will be it's also Memorial Day being tomorrow is going to be another. It counts as part of the weekend. So we will find out for sure how well it's done by Tuesday. It's projected to gross 80 to 100 domestic over the weekend, which is pretty good for a movie that costs 160, especially when you add the international totals on top of that. So we will be paying attention to that. Star Wars.
Have we gotten ideas on how much they've spent on press for this, though? Are they gonna? Is that?
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes they sink a lot of money into press.
And I've seen a lot of adverts for this. I've seen a lot of advertising. If they factor in the Super Bowl ad and
50 to 100, maybe in that range or something. I'm not sure.
So does the press budget that they do when they're obviously going on tour and taking the film around the world, does that come under the umbrella of marketing overall? Or is press kind of done separately? Yeah, it's under the same.
It's the marketing budget.
Because they did a lot of traveling for this film.
Yeah, it kind of varies as to how much they want to invest, but because internet ads are pretty easy, but things like TV ads and the billboards and pasted posters on buses and things like that cost more. They've done some publicity stunts, like they had Pedro surprise a bunch of Star Wars influencers at Galaxy's Edge, which is kind of had mixed feelings about, because it's like, here's the thing: if you're paying hundreds of dollars to go to Disneyland, to Galaxy's Edge, then chances are you love Star Wars enough that even if you're not an influencer, you would be excited to see the mask come off and it's actually Pedro. And because of the way the internet works, even though they're not influencers, it would travel like wildfire immediately and the influencers would be commenting on it. So the fact that they felt the need to do it specifically for the influencers and not for the average people was a little kind of weird. But
and you'd even catapult those people to almost becoming influencers themselves. If they're like young and engaged, and that'd be a great way of the studio supporting potentially new creators.
I think they could have done both. They could have done that surprise again for another group, and I haven't seen that. I don't know that they didn't do that, but I haven't seen anything that they did. So. But it gets slightly diminished when you sit there and you look at that, because the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, fans, and I was like, wait, I know that one and that one and that.
It's like trying to create hype really late, because they've been trying to do that with this one, because they have a little bit of an uphill battle to climb, because they've kind of programmed people to think of this IP as a Disney Plus show, and they got to make sure that people don't mistakenly think they're advertising another season. That no, this is a movie. Like we saw with the 28 Years Later Bone Temple movie, it turns out the reason a lot of people didn't go and see it, they did polls afterwards, and a lot of them thought they were just advertising a re-release of the previous film because it was so soon after. Hopefully people realize in the casual fan base that this is indeed a movie, and please go out and see it and support it, spread the word. As for the movie itself, it's pretty accessible. Some of the major critics I follow who aren't like Star Wars fans maybe saw the first season or maybe the second season. They didn't keep going with it, and they didn't have a problem following it, and they liked it. I'm pleasantly surprised that a lot of the pundits who are casual Star Wars fans, the ones that I didn't think would like it, actually liked it quite a lot. So that's pretty good.
So Rotten Tomatoes right now is critics are sitting at 62%. And critics scores are generally low. The Popcornometer, the fan rating, is at 89% right now.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
As for the movie, my quick non-spoiler review is
non-spoiler because no spoilers on the network until Tuesday. People, no spoilers on the network until Tuesday.
A lot of the CGI needed to be rendered more. That kind of bugged me, but it did feel a little bit like made for TV, because you could tell this is probably 4 episodes of the TV show that they just kind of edited together, because you could feel the beats where each one stops and like the next one starts, which is kind of funny that, once Iger's like, okay, because this was supposed to be the release date for the Rey movie, or one of the many release dates. So when they kicked that down the road and Iger's like, no, you're keeping this release date come hell or high water, I'm surprised that they just yanked episodes of what was going to be a 4th season, when it's like, dude, you got a massive toy chest to play with of Star Wars IP and characters. And because this, you could tell, wasn't written in a movie format. You could tell it was written as a TV show. And I think they should have done a little bit of a top-down rewrite to make it feel more like a movie and not as rapidly episodic. Like, oh, we got to do this thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. Kind of like I'm reminded of what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, when he wrote that, he knew that the vast majority of filmgoers are going to have no idea who those characters were. But made it feel like Star Wars had made it work. And it's like, I feel they kind of, because they constantly love to talk about how, we needed new characters and stuff, and yet they haven't really done that yet. So This is like it's Mando Grogu from the TV show, but go see it in the theater instead. I kind of felt that vibe while I was watching it. It was still fun. The opening scene, no pun intended, the cold open was excellent. Mando was particularly brutal in that scene, which I liked. And the rest of the first half or whatever, I kind of felt things were a little smooth sailing for Mando. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's a space western. Some plot contrivances and stuff. I like some of the character cameos. We saw, it's not a spoiler, we saw him in the trailer, Embo, badass in live action.
Absolutely.
Love him and his theme music. Awesome character.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
devastating.
Mm-hmm. And there is a particular planet, which I won't spoil because they haven't said, I don't think they've said yet in the trailers, but a particular planet from Clone Wars makes its live action debut. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing it was springtime because it was a lot greener than it appears on the show. One of my favorite planets from Clone Wars. I'm glad we got to see it in live action. Never thought we'd get to see it in live action, so that was really cool. I really liked the second half. They did a lot better job with character-driven story, character drama in the second half, I thought, compared to the first half. Though, admittedly, overall, I think they could have used some stronger villains. I'm sorry to say I love Sigourney Weaver, but that had to be the easiest paycheck that she's ever cashed in her life. Most boring.
Sigourney Weaver.
She was sleepwalking through that.
Yeah, I'm not an actor. I could have invested more personality in that character.
Yeah, but I think that was a drop back and punt when we lost Carl Weathers. That was Carl.
Weathers. Exactly. But even then, it's like, come on, can you give her a personality, some zest or something? And but on the plus side, we got Zeb. But we needed more Zeb.
Oh, we needed so much more Zeb. And I thought Zeb, I didn't think he was tall enough.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So it was fun. I gave it 3 out of 5. I mean, it's not the worst Star Wars movie. It's not the best. I like Solo and Rogue One and Last Jedi better. And then I would put this one under that. So I'd put Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker lower simply because I don't like what those movies were doing with the lore. But even though Force Awakens, I think, had a much zippier pace. But yeah, Mando Grogu, pretty good, decent. I think it should have been a lot better. I don't think this is going to be the one that's going to win back a bunch of fans to Star Wars. I think Starfighter is going to be the one that's going to be the test for moving the needle next year. But this was kind of like a nice palate cleanser. I think it should be a good summer tentpole. I think it'll be around for a while. So what do you guys think? Whoever would like to kick off.
Gio, you want to go? You want me to go?
Yeah. Go.
I'll go for it. So I went last night and I went by myself and I sat down and it was a really nice experience. I went to IMAX. I went and I think I would choose to do this again, even though I was kind of forced, is I couldn't sit as close to like mid-range back in the theaters I wanted to for an IMAX, is I was in like row 4 and I liked it. I didn't notice because I'm looking at a two-story screen and I'm looking up at it in row 4. I didn't notice the CGI issues. I'm immersed in it and I'm looking back and forth constantly to notice all this cool stuff that's going on over here and the cool stuff that's going over there. It's like this person appears on this half of the screen, then it's this. So I didn't get any of those issues. My theater had specialty hyperspace punch that, kind of Grogu green, which I did not realize when I initially set out to get it was an adult beverage. So I was
kid's character giving an adult beverage. That is misleading.
What are they done to
Well, I mean, there was a thing, and I no, I knew it when I got it. When I went to the theater and had seen it advertised, and it's advertised on the little screen at the popcorn stand, it's like, oh, I order it. So, and then they're like, oh no, you can't get that here. That's over at the bar. So I knew then, but I had already like had it in my mind to get it. I thought I was going to get like a lemonade kind of Minute Maid beverage. But I was like, no, I want to get this. So I go over to the bar and I get it. And I see that they're putting a fair amount of tequila in it. I was like, oh, okay. But anyway, so I'm sitting down and I'm enjoying the screen. Like I said, is some of the previews surprised me, and the opening action. I think what you're saying is if this could have been episodes of the TV show, I think they really dialed up the CGI or made the action bigger. I can't see that opening sequence having been just as big on the small screen. I don't know. I think they may have dialed some of that up. But it was really nice. I think the popcorn bucket game was strong. I saw tons and tons of people with the ridiculously high priced popcorn buckets. Okay. But like the AT-AT is 80. Y'all did
What?
that just the AT-AT popcorn bucket costs 80.
80.
What?
And I saw it at my theater, and it looks really plasticky and fake.
It's this big. But
I saw it in person at the theater, and it looked really plasticky. I've seen better AT-AT toys that are bigger scale that you could get for better.
That was where I went. Is I went in, and it was literally on the popcorn counter right in front of me, and it's like, for that amount of money, I'm going to invest in like a vintage one.
How much was the one that was Mando? Did you know how much the one that was Mando just from the torso up with Grogu on his back? I saw that one there. That one looked kind of neat.
I didn't see that one at my theater. At my theater, I saw the AT-AT. I saw the little kind of 3/4 size Mando helmet, which I thought was very nicely chromed, and a lot of people had it and carrying it around. It looked nice. I just wish it was bigger. But
we had that one. I saw that.
That one was nice. A lot of people at my theaters, a lot of the kids had the ones that was like the 3/4 size Grogu. And that one looked reasonably nice. It looked almost like the Hasbro whatever one. So it was pretty nifty. Oh yeah, that's the good one. The drink sipper that's like the pack, but that's a Disney. That's not at the movie theater, but you wear it like the backpack and you have a little sipper with Grogu in there. I think absolutely that's sweet. A cool one. But anyway, popcorn bucket was strong as I'm wading my way through. I'm going out. There were a few in my viewing, in my showing. There were a few like hardcore fans, and I'm passing out swag. I had the virtual cantina made up by Iron Panda Studios, the free swag that you could have made and give away, or the free art that you could have made into swag.
Awesome.
So I was giving out a few of those. There were a few hardcore, but there were tons and tons of family, right? It was family with kids in the, I would say probably 8 to 12, 8 to maybe 14 range in there seeing it. And like Liberty's saying, it's solidify younger fans. It's 12 and under, bringing in the next generation. And I think that's an excellent point. I think this is going to be a good entryway. We haven't had Star Wars in the theaters long enough that this is going to be some people's gateways. Like the OT was people's gateways, like the prequel was people's gateways, like the people who are the fans of The Force Awakens, Cat, who that was their gateway. That was the film that they came in on.
For better or worse,
because it was, so much the pacing of A New Hope. It was, it was kind of retold.
Like George would say, faster, more intense.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of little kids sitting in front of me at the theater too, and they were having a great time yesterday.
Yeah, they really were. The kids were enjoying. They were all getting like there was this one dad. He was hardcore dadding. He's like carrying 3 popcorn buckets, and mom had to go back to the bathroom, and he's keeping the 2 kids because we're standing outside waiting for the theater to be cleaned and stuff. It's just so it's a little bit of a wait. But yeah, it was really nice. But sat down there, cold open, big thing, giant. Go see it on the biggest screen you possibly can is my advice if you haven't seen it already, or if you're going to see it again, see it on the biggest screen you can. I'm not sure if there was another showing that I skipped that was IMAX and 3D that I don't know that that's necessary.
I know because here's the thing: if it's not shot in native 3D, it's just cheap and a cheap cash grab and doesn't look very good.
Yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily say that, but
this 3D, like Avatar 3D, is excellent 3D. This is the third one that just came out. But don't, because that's shot in actual 3D. But if it's a post 3D conversion, then no.
I was going to say, beyond James Cameron's Avatar films, is 3D still even being pushed? I haven't really seen it
Not
much.
really. I mean, they stopped selling 3D TVs in the United States like 10 years ago because it just wasn't taking off. And the movie theaters here were not. And the movie theaters were not willing to invest in good 3D projectors because they're like, you're just doing post conversions. It's, I mean, in the 60s and the 50s, it was a fun gimmick where you put on the glasses and they had deliberately exaggerated shots of things coming out at you in the screen. But to take a general movie that wasn't shot in 3D in mind and just do a 3D conversion, it's like the audiences in the United States are savvy enough that they didn't care. So the U.S. media dumped the 3D market much earlier. And if you want a 3D TV, you can still get them in the UK and they have to be shipped over. I mean, the last Blu-ray 3D I got was not by choice. I wanted the Steelbook because it looked so good. It was Captain America Civil War. And that had a regular Blu-ray in it as well. But that was the last Marvel movie that I'm aware of that put like a solid 3D disc as a main big release.
I think my theater might just do it because they did invest in the 3D projector and they just throw it in there and throw a showing for every movie. But so I'm going in there and I really enjoyed it. This was a packed theater. There were tons of people in there. Only like a couple of people who were sitting there that was annoying the snot out of me sitting there like on their phones. And I was like, why are you here? But a really nice showing. I think the audience really appreciated it. Sigourney Weaver, that was kind of a waste of Sigourney Weaver. I did like some of the stuff that happened later on that you weren't there. A lot of the cameos were really nice. You weren't expecting stuff to pop in. What you were saying is a lot of the stuff was a little bit too easy. The whole sequence. I am not old man yelling at clouds on this one. No, don't even get me started.
No, he's not. He's not old man yelling at clouds.
I enjoyed this.
Not this time.
No, I enjoyed this wholeheartedly. I think this was a good. I think the people that are being overly critical of this, the critics who are out there saying, well, we expect more from Star Wars. No, this was a good movie. Okay. You don't have to hold it to this has to bring meaningful things to the canon and you have to have it carry through or it should do this. This was a fun movie that standalone. That's a really it's a way to go. But like literally, I think the Gizmodo article or whatever lists all the things that a good movie should do that keep you sitting there, keep you engaged, keep you going. But this should have been more because it's Star Wars. And I'm like, no, it's a freaking good movie. Sit down and enjoy a good movie to do it. This reminded me a lot of what I anticipated some of it to be from the trailers, like a 90s buddy cop movie. This was Burt Reynolds in Cop and a Half, okay? And literally Pedro looks like Burt Reynolds. So it's Cop and a Half. If you haven't seen that movie, go look that up.
I think you should share that information with Lonnie and see if she agrees with you on that comparison.
No, it's Pedro Burt Reynolds. Reincarnate.
Same guy, basically.
It's like if you. Oh, this is what they need to do right now. Okay, Disney, you're hearing anybody who has the rights to this. Pedro Pascal remake Smokey and the Bandit. Go. But this is probably a rewatchable one. Is like I went by myself last night because my family couldn't agree to go and they were going to go watch Top Gun 40th anniversary again, but that was in such a small theater that they couldn't get two seats together.
Yeah.
But they were going to go watch that. And I was like, if you look at how big that theater is, it's like, why don't we just go buy a new TV that's a little bit bigger and it will be the same thing. But I liked it. I had little small things. Is I thought Zeb should have been taller. I thought there should have been more Zeb. I loved the cameos. I liked the way it went. I thought there were very specific little parts that were way too easy. I did like sitting there and playing the game that those of us who know and have watched all the Mando shows is like, is that Brendan? Is that Lateef? Is that Brendan? Is that Lateef? Is that Brendan? Is that Lateef? That's the kind of funny. Yeah, see, exactly right there is the gif of Pedro looking crazy in the car with the top down. That, yeah, the
smoking unbearable weight of massive talent.
Yeah, who on earth you would get to be the sheriff? I don't know. But super fun movie. Enjoyed it greatly. Hung out afterwards. Watched as many of the credits as you could, and liked seeing some of the credits, some of the Easter eggs of the people that I need to go back and rewatch it. Is like in the credits I saw, oh, that person was that. I didn't even see that. I need to go back and look. So it is definitely something that you can watch again and again. I hope they don't immediately like force it to streaming too fast to where they kill in any, I don't know. But
Gio, what did you think of the film?
I thought it was pretty good. I think this is kind of the way. It's got a good balance of massive action set pieces with smaller, cuter, quieter moments. It's definitely a repurposed season 4 or a couple of episodes. It's been kind of budget upped, as Dave mentioned, and then stretched out, as you mentioned, to the 2-hour 6-minute, 2-hour 12-minute runtime. But I think a few key questions that I think we end up asking ourselves. Was this film necessary? Did it deserve the big screen? And does it pull us back into Star Wars as a cinematic experience rather than a small screen at home or watching it on your device streaming experience? I think the more that people go and watch it and just try and not carry that baggage and burden of experience and expectation of Star Wars with them, the more they'll appreciate this film for what it is, which is a Saturday morning, pulpy, high-adventure, rollicking action adventure with a heroic character that will survive, isn't going to be in any real jeopardy, but if you allow yourself just to feel immersed and pulled in a little bit, you will feel something that people go to the movies for, which is you'll feel a bit of adrenaline, you'll feel excitement, you'll feel the high adventure and that kind of Flash Gordon type feeling, which George Lucas started the whole Star Wars experiment with way back. You get that feeling here. The opening sequence, I think you could have genuinely and it's not really spoiling it because it's in the trailer. You do see Mando riding a little ATST down the side of a mountain. That could have been straight out Indiana Jones. It would have been something that fitted in to any kind of high adventure film, and then it just has that lick of paint of Star Wars that we love. So I think it does justify its space on the big screen. I think that cinematography was more of a how to describe this. It just felt like the way the action was framed was a lot better than I've seen in lots of action movies and films for a long time. It was very easy and clear to follow, and I appreciate that because I think when shaky cam was at its high point in the mid 2010s, that was that was a problem for action films, and this doesn't resort to any of those little gimmicks that we've seen and not really enjoyed in in other films. And I think it does go into little bits of lore and little moments that are from, the original trilogy or references to previous material. That there is a lot of
Clone Wars movie.
I was about to say there's a lot of shared DNA with Clone Wars, and specifically the Clone Wars movie, which was Dave Filoni's first, big screen project that was completely under his lead. And I don't think that's a spoiler either, right? I think the presence of Rotter the Hutt is part of this film synopsis online and in like the descriptions of it.
Yeah, it is in the trailer.
Yeah. So they're using little bits that maybe aren't necessary, but it does give you some connection to other projects that you might enjoy. It does maybe remind you of some good feelings you had about a previous project like the Clone Wars, but I think it stands up enough by itself, and I think it's been written in a very accessible way, and in a way that I think strategically is a good move by Lucasfilm, and does remind me a little bit of how there are not too many similarities, but how more Shadow Lords has been written. You can take it just for what it is and have a really good time. The high points of something like that TV show, I think it takes a lot more risk, and then there is the reward for it. This film is quite a safe film, but that doesn't have to be an outright criticism. It's not setting the world ablaze. It's not, redefining what Star Wars is or adding giant, copious amounts of volume to the lore. And then one thing I will say is I feel like they didn't use the volume or stagecraft much in this film, and that was very noticeable as well. I felt like there was a lot more crew work behind all the set pieces. The CG didn't look too bad to me, but I was actually in kind of a smaller screen, so maybe if I'd had it really close up, I might not have been as immersed as the IMAX experience, but I might have had a bit more issue with some of the rendering. But I think it justifies itself on the big screen. I think it's not something that years ago people would have asked for as the first film back for Star Wars on the big screen, but it makes sense. And I think it holds up as an individual standalone film to be a pretty fun ride. I also think that although it might have been a couple of episodes repurposed, and you can see that and feel that, definitely, Kat, you mentioned, there's some cuts and some screen wipes which are very clearly like, oh, that would have been the end of episode 1, we'll go back to episode 2 next. I think they did do a little bit of reworking into making the film feel like it had the traditional 3 acts. And I think once you get to the 3rd act, the film took a turn that I didn't really expect. It kind of felt more like a silent film for a bit. And this is a film called The Mandalorian and Grogu. A lot of cool stuff and a lot of, I think, trailer and TV spot things will have highlighted The Mandalorian being a badass. And that's great. But Grogu gets his flowers as well. And I think that's nice to see. And it doesn't have to be something that any backstory for. I mean, the internet knows Grogu as Baby Yoda. I think he'll forever still be known as Baby Yoda.
Right.
But you don't need to know anything about Yoda to enjoy Grogu. And you don't need to know anything about any of the Mandalorian lore to enjoy Din Djarin as Mando. And I think that's a good move for the film. And I think it is a nice, easy way of getting fans back into the cinema. I think it's a good project to bring Star Wars to new people or to very casual people who think, oh, it's Memorial Day weekend, let's go see something with family, or let me see what all that hype's about. I don't think it's going to have droves of people talking about it and queuing up in the weeks to come. But I don't think we should have expected that much from it. That might sound like damning it with faint criticism, but I think as a return to the big screen, it doesn't take any massive swings, but it does, give you a good little Star Wars experience back. And I think if I compare it to the previous films that have come out with Disney, I think it's one that I feel like I'd more realistically want to go back and rewatch, even if it's not something I sit down and like turn the lights down and turn the volume up and like try and make a cinema experience myself. I think it's a fun adventure to come back to, and yeah, and then it does kind of justify being its own standalone film. Having said all that, I do hope we do get some semblance of another season of The Mandalorian, because I think season 3 had a lot of issues, but it really much became the Mandalorians rather than the singular Mandalorian, and that could either be explored well in future episodes or it could come back in a feature film. I have a feeling this won't do as fantastically at the box office as maybe Disney top brass want it to be, but I think it'll bring Star Wars back into the public consciousness enough to build some momentum going forward.
I think I agree with you, and I think this one's going to be a lot of the people that make this movie go will be the non-Star Wars people or the newer Star Wars people or the casual Star Wars people that go and watch it, as opposed to, I've been in this since, I saw the original in films in 1977. It's like, okay, maybe not. But I'm a child of the Ewoks, and I highly endorse this movie based on that. And I mean, some people have compared this as like, well, you don't have to have a serious Star Wars film, and they compare this movie to like the Ewok movies, not even Jedi, like the Ewok movies. And I'm like, hey, we're not that far down the rabbit hole. I don't think with that. Yeah. Those were a very niche thing. But I hope and I think that this should totally do well. I mean, what's it up against in the theaters? Was there anything really that dropped this week? There's some that are still out from weeks before, but.
I mean, the Michael movie's still chugging. Devil Wears Prada 2 is still chugging. Yeah. Obsession again did better second weekend than it did first, which is crazy.
Well, probably it needed.
And then a new horror film called Passenger.
It needed like word of mouth to get people to hear, because I don't know that Obsession had enough press for people to really.
I've seen that trailer quite a few times, and I like that it was very. It was very vague trailer, but I liked it. But yeah, there's not much out right now. I don't know what the next big. Most of the big releases come out in July, so it shouldn't have too much of an issue. Oh, well, I mean, the next big release, of course, is going to be
Masters of the Universe will come
Disclosure Day on June 12th. Yeah. Masters of the Universe and Disclosure Day are the next two big movies, June 5th and 12th.
Yeah.
And I think the trailers...
but surprisingly...
Go on.
Even though Masters of the Universe got really great early reviews from the critic screenings, it's not tracking very well for box office. And then we haven't heard anything. I don't think they've shown Disclosure Day yet, so we'll see. But that's, Spielberg returning to sci-fi and aliens. It's got to be, especially with something that's really topical right now, that's probably going to do gangbusters.
All I've seen about Disclosure Day was a poster in my theaters last night.
Yeah, trailer of that was good, so...
Yeah, I think there's
also Mandalorian Grogu appeals to a younger and Mando Grogu appeals to a younger demographic, so that should really help. And I think the younger demographic, Masters of the Universe isn't something that is as well known anymore amongst kids, if at all. It's not like there was a fan base scrambling for a movie adaptation of that. I have a feeling the Masters of the Universe movie is going to go the same way as the Dungeons and Dragons movie from a few years ago, which, while good, didn't get enough money to justify a sequel because there just wasn't enough interest in it. And if a Dungeons and Dragons movie, as popular as that IP still is, couldn't succeed at the box office, then I don't think that's
their window on Masters of the Universe, because that's something that people who were original Masters of the Universe fans, like my age, would have taken their kids to and wanted to introduce their children to. My children are too old for that at this point. That demographic, their kids are too old to go and get them involved in that. So I don't think. Plus, the trailer. I said it earlier on in the show that I was surprisingly pleased with the Supergirl trailer that was very different that was attached to this film. I did not like as much the Masters of the Universe trailer that was attached to this film. I had liked some of the earlier trailers for Masters than the longer one that was attached to this film.
Right.
Oh, that's another one coming out this summer. We're gonna have to do like a summer movie preview probably at some point. Is the Toy Story 5? The trailer for that actually looked decent and interests me because I heard Toy Story 5 and I'm like, no, damn it, it ended perfectly at 3. Stop it. But the trailer for 5 looked good. So I'm excited about that. I think I don't know that I will need to go and watch that in the theater. Like Masters of the Universe, I think it's going to be a big enough, expansive thing. I need to watch that in the theater. But Toy Story 5, I think, should be a good movie, but may not do well in the theaters because do you need to see that on the large screen?
Yeah, I think there are quite a few films coming out in June. Supergirl is coming out, I think, 22nd,
right.
26th of June. And
That's
Toy
right.
Story
I keep
5.
forgetting these things.
Yeah, so they're not that far away at all because we are a week away from June now. So
yeah,
and June's stacked with a lot of big films, the ones that we mentioned, Masters of the Universe as well, and then Disclosure Day. And I don't think The Mandalorian and Grogu has too much of an overlap with Disclosure Day, although I'd like to think that they're going to be a lot of adults who think, hey, let's have a fun Saturday morning adventure with the Mando and Grogu, and let's also explore Spielberg in hard sci-fi again. But definitely with things like Toy Story 5, Supergirl, they're more kind of friendly family fare. That the
I don't know that Supergirl is going to be family friendly fare.
Toy Story 5 is going to do gangbusters just because it's Toy Story, so that'll be a big. But by the time that comes out, that's late June, right?
Yeah.
Supergirl June 26th. Yes.
Is that Toy Story 5?
Toy Story 5 June 19th. Supergirl the 26th. Right.
Yeah, Toy Story 5 is going to be the big annihilator for Mando Grogu.
Oh, and a new Minions movie. July 1st, Minions and Monsters.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, really? Yeah, these things are gonna cannibalize the same crowd that would otherwise go.
Oh, Spider-Man Brand New Day, July 31st. I forgot about that.
I think Mando Grogu will be finished by the time Spider-Man comes around.
Yes.
I mean, it'll still be lingering in some theaters, but it's not going to be like I would not be surprised if the inevitable 4K steelbook of Mando Grogu was available by August. Or maybe they push it to September. Yeah.
Somebody was asking me about this the other day. Is there a steelbook or a DVD set of like the Mandalorian series?
Yes,
season 1, season 2.
There are 3 separate ones. You can get the Blu-ray version or the 4K version, and the prices fluctuate wildly mostly on Amazon. Right now, the first 2 seasons are priced at like $45 a piece for the 4K, which isn't bad for the amount of stuff you get for that. But season 3 is jacked up to $55, and I'm not going to pay that for that. Toy Story does have. I can honestly say from that Toy Story trailer, this is the first Toy Story sequel I feel is actually a necessary good movie or good concept. Because Toy Story 2, it's like, okay, you already tackled Woody's ego in the first movie. Now you did it again in the second one. Third one's like Escape from Alcatraz, which was fun, and it had some good stuff going for it. Toy Story 4 was a fun movie, but a lot of people feel that just because of the ending of 3, they shouldn't have done 4. But I still thought 4 was fun. But 5 is the first one I feel is the one that I'm actually really interested in. Because tech is something that has been annihilating the toy industry.
Is great. It's like
that's a great concept. And I like that the trailer implies that this piece of tech lily pad is insidious, loving that she's kicking toys out of the house. So I love that.
Yeah.
So I think I'm actually kind of excited to see it because that's the first great concept in a while for a Toy Story movie. So I'm actually intrigued to see that one. And kids will love it just because, kids of all ages love Toy Story, and it's a type of franchise you could take kids to even if they haven't seen the earlier ones. But I think Mando Grogu will stand up just fine against Masters of the Universe and Disclosure Day. And there's nothing big opening next weekend either. Just another A24 movie called Backrooms, which is apparently based on some video game that I'd never heard of.
Oh, wow.
And so that's, so it'll have a good second weekend. It should do pretty well. And it should do reasonably well against Masters of the Universe, I think. Disclosure Day, you're going to have a lot of overlap in terms of the older fans, but we'll see how it does. I think it should break. I think it should, Disney films, I believe, get they get to keep 2/3 of the box office instead of half. At least they negotiate that for some of their bigger movies. So if that's the case here, they should do well. And, we'll hear about it in the coming weeks if it did what they wanted it to do. Because, insiders always leak information about, whether they've already, I don't know if this is going to get a sequel, but we'll find out if they want to get another, standalone movie going. So.
And it's entirely possible I don't know how well it did at the box office, but, have we seen one of the really great summer movies already? Because Project Hail Mary was pretty damn great.
Yeah, and that was March, and that was great.
Yeah.
I missed that one, but I'm really keen to see it.
That's already available to rent digitally, and it will be available on Blu-ray and 4K in mid-July, I believe.
Well, there you go.
Was that still available when you went to see Mandalorian and Grogu in other screens? Did you see
not at the theater that I was at, but in theaters, yes.
Last weekend it was still there, and that was the last weekend it had, and then Mando Grogu came and kicked it off.
I see.
Yeah, in other theaters in my area, that is still available. I only saw it very recently. I think I saw it 2 or 3 weeks ago, so it wasn't.
Oh wow!
way back when it came out.
I think that finished around with 670 million, which is pretty good.
So,
and that's a PG-13 movie, right?
I believe so. Yeah,
probably.
That's pretty good return. I don't think yeah, that's a really strong return for a March film release.
Well, it's an excellent film. I think those of us, I really wanted to go see it to see, what's maybe a little bit of Starfighter is going to be like. So, and that makes one hopeful in that. Plus, it's really good in the tradition of a lot of like space disaster films or whatnot, like Red Planet or The Martian and a lot of films like that. It's solidly within that genre.
From the same writer as The Martian as well.
Well, there you go. See,
yeah,
based on another novel that he wrote. So. All right, I guess that about wraps it up because we can't get into spoilers, but I take it by the time we reconvene, which will be, I believe, June 14th, Sunday, June 14th, we will have hopefully by then we could do a big open spoiler discussion of Mando Grogu. Yeah. And by then, if people, I will be seeing Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day probably on the Thursday preview. So we can talk about that as well, because that'll be sci-fi and related. So, and even Masters of the Universe, if Dave, I'll try and get out to see it.
I will totally have been in to go see Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, so I think we're entering our summer blockbuster review session of topics on Unifying Force. It's fun to do that for our crew. But yes, join us next time for a big, full-on, big fat spoiler discussion of Mando Grogu, and we hope you guys participate in the chat and the spoiler talk, and we'll highlight a lot of comments. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, show up and tell us all the little things that you liked, disliked, just surprised you completely. See you later, Bruce. Thanks for watching.
Bruce,
there he is.
Grogu. Right. I forgot to bring my Grogu up with me. I have that same one. That's my favorite Grogu doll they put out ever. I love that.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's
adorable.
He's still. I keep him in the packaging right here.
Yeah.
Oh. I couldn't do that. I had to free him. Couldn't see Grogu in
Grogu's
prison
everywhere
for a second longer.
I didn't bring that, but I brought a bar of soap with me. Brand new 4K release.
Whew.
All right. Until next time, everybody. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you all.
Maybe. Hold on.